2025. You're watching DeProgram with Ted Rall and John Kiriakou. I'm Ted Rall. That's John Kiriakou. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a quick ad, and we're going to get straight to our program. You probably noticed Rumble is growing fast, and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first, and actually protects free speech. Now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. Rumble.com/premium. Promo code STUDIO. No ads. More freedom and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Hi, John.
How are you, Ted? And you know what? I got to say, I'm glad that you started off with an ad and that it was about Rumble. In all seriousness, when you and I were at, that station we worked at before. Sputnik.
Which we shall not name.
We were on Rumble every day. After a while, we were on Rumble exclusively, and they treated us well, and they're treating us well again. So my loyalty's with Rumble.
That's true. And if you're watching us on YouTube, and you can either just watch us for $5 a month as a Rumble Premium member, just for one show, or you can get everything on the channel for $10 a month, Rumble Premium. We're dropping exclusive interviews on Rumble Premium content. My interviews with John, John's interviews with me, my interview with producer Robbie. All good stuff, more to come. So, thanks, Rumble. And thanks, Mills446, for the $10. Really appreciate it. We've got stuff to talk about. Michigan church attack, of course, at that Mormon church. We're trying to figure out what exactly the motivation was there. A very strange peace plan coming out of the White House. Everything about it is very odd for Gaza. We have all the details here. We'll sort of get through it. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, John. Government shutdown seems imminent. Of course, we've been here before many times. The deadline is tomorrow night. So there's not a lot of time for the Democrats and Republicans to get it together. And finally, Eric Adams dropped out of the mayoral race here in New York City yesterday. So we'll be talking about how exactly that affects the race to the extent that it affects anything at all. And of course, as always, we welcome your questions, comments, and so on in both the Rumble and the YouTube feeds. So anyway, what shall we do first, John?
Well, may I make a small disagreement with you?
Oh, please.
We already had a question about the implementation of Sharia law in the United States.
Okay.
And you said, ain't going to happen.
Yeah, it's a fever dream. Where does this come from that on the right, that Sharia law is coming to the United States?
I'm going to argue that it has already happened and that there is nothing wrong with it. So Sharia law means different things to different people. As you say correctly, to many people on the right, it's a fever dream. It's the beginning of the end. It's Satan come to life. It's, all these horrible things. I would argue that Muslims, many American Muslims within their own families already practice a form of Sharia law. For example, Sharia law dictates that when the head of a household dies, his wife gets half of what he leaves and his sons split the other half. Mm-hmm. That's a basic tenet of Sharia law, whether the American government or the states like it or not. It's up to individual families to do it. That's it. It's done. Sharia law can mean you have to send your children to a Muslim school, a private school. We have several of them here in the Washington area. They mind their own business. Everybody lets them mind their own business. But Sharia law dictates you have to send your kid to a Muslim school. Okay. Nobody seems to care. The government's not trying to prevent it. So while this Republican fever dream will never come to pass, there are other parts of Sharia law that are not offensive to anybody that are already in practice every day.
Well, but John, isn't that just Muslims deciding to live culturally in a certain way? That's not I mean, like, I'm not subject to Sharia law.
No.
I have to, do my inheritance the way that you described. I'm not Muslim, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change, I guess.
No, that's not going to change. And it'll never be forced on us. Reed asked a good question. What about Islamic banking here in the USA? If you're in New York, sure, you can find an Islamic bank that uses Islamic banking tenets, no usurious interest. You pay a fee, which is the same thing. It's not called interest, but you can work it out. Another part of Sharia law that most people don't know about is that for strict Muslims, they are not permitted to participate in democratic elections if the elections are not overseen by Muslims. And so there's this ongoing debate, for example, in Dearborn, Michigan, over whether or not Muslims should participate by voting. And time was 20 years ago or so when, Muslim turnout was like 20%. And now it's closer to 40%. But strictly, by Sharia law, they shouldn't be voting at all. They shouldn't be running for office. They shouldn't be participating in any way in U.S. elections. Little by little, it's changing. But you're right. It will never be foisted on us. It'll never be foisted in any state. Already, I think Oklahoma and Texas specifically ban it, and they don't even know what they're banning. But it's not the boogeyman so many people think it is.
I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of aspects of Sharia law that I really like. First of all, the rapid justice system.
Yeah, rapid.
You and I you talked about on the Rumble Premium Edition this morning about my lawsuit against the LA Times.
Yeah, that
dragged on for 5 years, and between the two sides, close to $2 million were spent and nothing was resolved. But
yes.
If I'd been able to have it go to a Sharia court in most of the Muslim world, and the LA Times had been there to defend themselves, we would have had a verdict in a few hours. And it would have been immediately enforceable. Mm-hmm. It would have saved a lot of time and energy and money. So there's a lot to be said for it.
Yes. Yes, indeed. There is.
Let's see.
So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you at the very start of the show like that.
But I like it.
It's a minor enough point that we can do it quickly, and a major enough point that we should do it first and get it out of the way.
Well, here's one that this is for the top of a show. This one might be more than we can bite off and chew. Harry Quantrill is asking, can we do a brief interview of the history of the future of the UK? I'm a young engineer, and I'm considering if it's worth staying here. Well, that's a great idea. It's a good question. I mean,
it is.
I don't know. Do you have thoughts? I mean, full disclosure, I haven't been to the UK since 1989. So I'm like the least qualified person to talk about that, except and I hate people who just talk about outside shit, Bill O'Reilly, mansplaining about Afghanistan, who's never been, and I just gotten back. So I'm not going to do that. So, I rely on my English friends to tell me what's what in England. But, what do you think?
I love it. I go to England. I go to the UK 3-4 times a year. Even though I'm banned for life, I manage to somehow sneak in anytime I darn well please. But this is a really good question. And it's a question that some of the most important political figures and most important political scientists fight about every single day. I bet you we could get Jeremy Corbyn to appear on the show.
No way.
I bet we could.
All right, let's do it.
I'll send him an email. All
right, I love it. That's service, and that person didn't even donate. You should donate. Really, we should shake you down. We're Donald Trump. We have the best show. We give you expert opinions about your country. Anyway, all right. Yeah, I just don't have the answer to that question at all. So, thanks, John, for that. Okay, so, do we want to talk about I would love to get into this Gaza thing.
Yeah, let's do that. It's important.
All right, John, I've got it. I've got the details up here on my screen. So I'm just going to sort of go through it, right? So It was a 20-point plan. It became a 21-point plan because when Netanyahu was meeting Trump said, you've got to call the Qataris and apologize for your missile strike that killed an innocent Qatari security guard and a bunch of other people who were not even targeted in the attack. Netanyahu not only apologized, he called and apologized, but he also promised not to do anything like that ever again, to Qatar anyway. So that, I guess the Qataris probably said, we're not going to mediate unless you agree to that. So, all right. So there's a bunch. So this is a classic Trump document. And by the way, Trump claims that Israel agreed, but sort of. Then when Netanyahu said, well, I agree with it for now. This is a typical Israeli approach. And he's like, I'm sure Hamas will agree. Okay, I'm sure Hamas will not agree. And this is basically written as though the Israelis have won the war. John,
it's over. Yes.
The war is
exactly how
the
it's
opposite.
written.
I think Israel lost the war in a decisive victory. This was I guess it's a Pyrrhic loss, right, is the best way to describe it. They flattened Gaza. They killed hundreds of thousands of people. They've left it devastated. But the fact is that what Israel needs more than Gaza or the West Bank, they need international opinion on their side. And that they no longer have and no longer will have for the foreseeable future. They've destroyed themselves. But this was written by a country that it's either bluffing or doesn't seem to know what side it's on. And I do say it looks like it was kind of written both by the Israelis and the Americans. Anyway.
Without a doubt.
All hostages would be released within 72 hours. And then there's some really interesting stuff here. Part 5. Once all hostages are released, Israel will release 250 life sentence prisoners, plus 1,700 Gazans who were detained after October 7th, including all women and children detained in that context. For every Israeli hostage whose remains are released, Israel will release the remains of 15 deceased Gazans. Once all hostages are returned, this is point 6. So essentially, the way this is written, and I don't know if they noticed this, they basically are acknowledging that the Israelis take hostages. That's the way it reads. I don't know if they intended that or not. Gaza will be redeveloped for the benefit of the people of Gaza who have suffered more than enough. That's point 2. But then that comes into great contradiction. Other stuff that I thought was stop me at any point. Part 7. Upon acceptance of this agreement, full aid will be immediately sent into the Gaza Strip. So in other words, the U.S. and Israel are admitting that full aid has not been sent into Gaza.
I wondered if I was the only person who realized that when I read it. Because they've been lying to us from the very beginning, saying that there's plenty of aid, it's all flowing in, Hamas is keeping the food from the people, and we all know that that's utter nonsense, that the Israelis are starving people to death as a function of war, which of course is a crime against humanity.
Yes, and rightly so. Continuing this, at a minimum, aid quantities will be consistent with what was included in the January 19th, 2025 agreement regarding humanitarian aid, including rehabilitation of infrastructure, water, electricity, sewage, rehabilitation of hospitals and bakeries, and entry of necessary equipment to remove rubble and open roads. So here, 2 really interesting points, I think. Number 1, this is Israel and the United States conceding the fact that Israel has not kept up their end of the January 2025 agreement, and also not promising to restore anything but hospitals and bakeries. They got rid of everything. So no banks,
nothing, no
groceries, no apartment buildings.
Nope.
Sorry,
just flattened.
Those are just bye-bye forever under this deal. And this part is fascinating, John. Part 8. Entry of distribution and aid in the Gaza Strip will proceed without interference from the 2 parties through the UN and its agencies and the Red Cross. John.
They killed everybody from the agencies.
I thought the UN, UNRWA was infested with evil Hamas terrorists, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we've been told repeatedly? So
You bet.
is Netanyahu and Trump they're now on team terrorist? They're on team Hamas?
That's it.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it was all bullshit all along.
Yeah. Imagine we were lied to. Oh my gosh.
But it's amazing to see the powers that be admit it so cavalierly and so brazenly.
Yeah.
And then this is hilarious. This is very Trumpy. Gaza will be governed, part 9, under the temporary transitional governance of a technocratic. It's so funny.
And you saw who it was.
Yes, it's
In the
Tony
reporting over the
Blair.
weekend. Tony Blair of all people.
The technocrat in chief.
Nobody wants Tony Blair, especially in Gaza.
No, nobody wants Tony Blair, period. Apolitical Palestinian committee. Okay, by definition, nothing like this is apolitical. Responsible for delivering the day-to-day running of public services, blah, blah, blah. The committee will be made up of qualified Palestinians. What the hell is that? And under the supervision of a new international transitional body, the Board of Peace, which will be headed by, wait for it, Donald Trump, with other members and heads of state to be announced, including the Tonester, Tony Blair, as you mentioned, John. It goes on like this. The Palestinian, so then it says that the Palestinian Authority will have to complete its reform program before it can come in to run things. Of course, here we go. No one will be forced to leave. This is probably the one part that no Palestinian will ever believe. Part 12, no one will be forced to leave, and those who wish to leave will be free to do so and free to return. But it might take about a century, though.
Exactly.
We will encourage people to stay and offer them the opportunity to build a better Gaza. Maybe the people who destroyed Gaza could make Gaza great again.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that, like, Israel. Now, again, interestingly, part 16, Israel promises not to occupy or annex Gaza.
What about the West Bank?
Yeah, they don't talk about that.
No, they don't.
Also, but of course, here's the thing too, right? They want Israelis have always wanted a demilitarized future Palestinian state. I mean, they never wanted a Palestinian state.
No.
But if they were going to have one, it had to be demilitarized. I mean, the way things are looking now, it's not Hamas or the Palestinians that just bombed, what was it, 5 countries in like 5 months?
Right.
I think it's maybe the Israelis who need to be demilitarized. But anyway, you're not a sovereign state. You're not a nation state if you don't have a military.
That's it. Unless you're Costa Rica.
And then it's by choice.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's a non-starter. And Donald Trump's rhetoric around it kind of proves that it's a non-starter. This is the peace plan, whether you like it or not, sign it, or there's going to be more war.
Did you notice the administration's latest favorite phrase just made another appearance? This time it was Bibi. He said, "We can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way." Someone's been watching too much Goodfellas.
Seriously. Nothing's going to come of this. Nothing.
It's so dead on arrival. It's a joke.
It is. It is.
I mean, what is the point of this? Okay, John, I want to ask you what you think. Yeah, I have my thoughts about this, but what do you think the point of this exercise is? Because I think there is a point.
Oh, I think there's a point. I think Donald Trump wants to show that he's all about peace. He's the great peacemaker. Never mind what people are saying about him at the United Nations or those lefty jerks at the State Department. He's a man of peace, and he's going to prove it by God by forcing peace in the Middle East. And that's just not real life. I told you what Dennis Ross told me one time. Dennis Ross, for years and years and years, was the special envoy for the Middle East peace process across presidents. George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush. He told me one time that there are no new ideas, period. Everything's been thought of. everything's been rejected. So the two sides are going to have to be so desperate that they're both willing to accept an agreement that they both hate. And what that's going to mean is the creation of a Palestinian state, but probably one that is ineffectual, meaning it's not going to have any military. It may not even have any police. Maybe they're going to have those famous peacekeepers, the Fijians. I told you the first briefing I ever gave at the CIA was for the Prime Minister of Fiji. And I was like, Prime Minister of Fiji? And they said, oh, Fiji provides most of the United Nations peacekeeping forces. That's their major source of income. And how much do you want to bet?
They have a peacekeeping-based economy.
Yeah, they do. How much you want to bet they end up in Gaza and maybe the West Bank?
I don't know, John. I mean, maybe I'm unduly optimistic. I think after all this, I don't think that the Palestinians and specifically the Gazans are going to agree to any of this. I think these are smart people, and I think they can see what we can see, which is that the whole world has turned against Israel. They're a pariah state. I'll tell you, I'm not worried about it. I think Israel is all bluster, but I got to tell you, John, the one thing that you said like maybe a couple of weeks ago, I can't get it out of my mind, is about the fact that Israel is a nuclear power, and they're going to have their backs up against the wall.
Yeah.
And they might just decide to take a bunch of shit out with them as they go down.
I think that's it. It makes me sick to my stomach to think about it. But I think that the Israelis are willing to kill everybody rather than to allow a free Palestine.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't even know how to stop it, because even if like Trump decided like, okay, fuck you guys, we're taking you out. They have nuclear weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of them. We can't do that. We have no way to demilitarize. We've created a monster.
Yeah, we have. Yes.
So the commenter formerly known as Sedone2334, always generous, is now Celomam. Thank you very much for the $20.
Thank you.
Saying that he's thinking of moving to Saskatchewan, to the wilderness.
Ooh.
I mean,
when you
I'm
look
jealous.
At the maps,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. When you look at the maps of what parts of North America are not going to be devastated in a nuclear war, it's just like the northern third of Idaho and then all of Canada.
Well, that's a good place to start then. Not to mention, they're going to have the weather that we grew up with. So,
yes.
It's all going to be like, it'll be warmer. It won't even be that much of an adjustment. John, question for you from Reed S. Would like your assessment on Michelle Rigby Assad. Is she a grifter?
Oh, the CIA. Is she a grifter? I'm usually very quick to call people grifters because so many of them are. She's not a grifter. She was in the CIA about 10 years. Counterterrorism. She claims to have done 5 overseas tours in 10 years. That can't possibly be true. I think she's counting TDYs, temporary duty, as assignments overseas or tours. They aren't tours. She wrote this book, and the name of it escapes me now, but she wrote this book that came out relatively recently. And the complaints that I'm seeing about it are, I read one review that said that the book is essentially God, CIA, 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 God, God, CIA, God, 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 CIA. Thank God I'm Christian. It's like, yeah. And the other complaints I've seen about it are that it was supposed to be this riveting account of, international espionage, and it's just not. It's how much she loves her husband, how proud she is to have served her country. She did really cool stuff, but she can't tell you about them. And oh my God, she loves God. And that's just kind of boring.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. We got Houdini wants to ask, will the Saudis pay for the rebuilding of Gaza? Is Jim Biden getting the contract just like he did to rebuild Iraq?
That's the $64,000 question right there. And that's the question that, frankly, we should all be asking of our elected officials. Who's going to pay for all this? Is it going to be Saudi Arabia? If it is, okay, I think so long as we don't end up with the Biden family, Eric Prince, what's his face?
The Clinton Foundation.
The Clinton Foundation, Elon Musk, Jared Kushner, all getting a piece.
All the vultures.
Yeah, that bothers me very much. But really, the original idea, and we talked about this weeks ago, the original idea was, yes, the Saudis had offered to pay for everything. But that was before anybody had ever heard of Jared Kushner and Eric Prince.
But the Saudis, they couldn't do this if they were perceived as being the total lickspittles of the Israelis, right? I mean, there would have to be some dignity for the Gazans.
But keep in mind, they're one of the very few who still refuse to open diplomatic relations. And as it's turning out, that was a really smart policy. You remember Donald Trump in the first term was trying to force them, like he forced the Emiratis, the Bahrainis, the Tunisians, the Sudanese, the Moroccans. They all ran and opened embassies in Israel. And the Saudis said, not so fast. We need to think about this. And then October 7th happened, and now it's just not possible. If the Saudis open diplomatic relations with the Israelis, it's going to have to be part of this big overall regional peace process.
Grand bargain,
not including the Iranians. We could talk about that separately if you'd like. But with all the peninsular Arabs and any stragglers, I mean, maybe even Syria. I think we're all pretty convinced that the new president of Syria is either a CIA asset or somebody who's very, very comfortable around CIA people.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. Kiki asks, do we think the settlers will be made to stop the violence and stop stealing the Palestinians' land?
Wow.
Fuck no.
And that should be the very first priority.
That's true.
And I agree with Ted. Fuck no. No,
honestly,
not gonna happen.
and I mean, look, what the Israelis are really smart at, and it's brutal, is they change the facts on the ground. And then, it's like, well, now there's nothing we can do. I mean, let's just say sanity were to prevail. But I mean, seriously, the settlers should all be evicted.
Yes, right? 100%.
Who's going to have, besides you and me, who's going to have the stomach for that?
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, these are women and children. This is their homes. They've lived there now for a long time. And same thing with destroying Gaza. They change the facts on the ground, and that becomes the new reality. That's the conversation they had behind closed doors, and they're not wrong.
Ted, I'm sure you remember when we were teenagers, it was in our high school years that the Camp David Accords were finally fully implemented. And you remember that the Israelis had occupied the entire Sinai Peninsula.
Yep.
And as part of Camp David, they had to give it back to the Egyptians. But the Israelis had already built settlements there. And so the Egyptians had demanded successfully that those settlements all be bulldozed. And I remember watching Walter Cronkite in high school, video of Israeli bulldozers bulldozing the Israeli settlements in Sinai, and the settlers going completely bananas, firing at the bulldozers, throwing paint at them, throwing garbage at them. And then the IDF having to shoot rubber bullets at the settlers to get them out. That was in Egypt.
Yeah.
That was in Sinai.
Yep.
Can you imagine what it's going to be in the West Bank?
Or
in Gaza?
If it comes to that.
If it ever
comes. And honestly, it should come to that.
It should. But every one of them should be driven out.
Absolutely. Demonizer's asking you, John, did the CIA collect any intelligence on the Israeli nuclear program? How hard would it be for us or another intelligence agency to infiltrate it? Oh, and before you answer that question, let me read another ad. If you haven't already, please make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content you want. Once you've got it, search for our channel and hit follow. That way you'll get a notification every time we go live. No missed shows, no extra steps. You can grab it right now using the link in the description or the pinned live chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble is available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be part of the action. So, John, the Israeli nuclear program, I'm sure the CIA has intel on it. They have to. But the can you guys infiltrate Mossad?
I'm going to give you a multi-part answer. So number one, since the Nixon administration, the CIA has been forbidden from spying on Israel. But I know from a very highly placed insider that not all of the documents related to the JFK assassination were declassified and released, that several thousand pages were not declassified and released. Why? Because they all point to Israel. And the reason Israel hated John Kennedy was that he would not give them nuclear technology and actively stood in the way of them acquiring nuclear technology from other countries, including the likes of South Africa.
Wow. Yeah, because South Africa, apartheid era South Africa, those were their besties. I mean, Nelson Mandela really fucked shit up for
he did. And you remember the South Africans were widely believed to have had a nuclear weapon. Mm-hmm. And then upon the fall of apartheid, they transferred all their nuclear technology to the Israelis. Yep. Nice people. Hey, may I answer another one I see from Sam? The stomach removal treatment that you got, does it cure only type 2 diabetes? Yes, only type 2. The doctors were very clear in our very first appointment that I had type 2, not type 1. Yes, I had type 2. And they said, okay, because it does nothing for type 1. So I'm sorry, that's probably not the answer you were looking to hear, but yeah.
Basco Byram wants to know, obviously this is not for me, did you ever work with Swedish intelligence?
I never worked with Swedish intelligence, no. And I think it was just sort of the luck of the draw that we just never had reason to liaise. And Basco Byram asks a second question I see there. What do you think about Kurds in the Middle East regarding the ongoing situation? I will tell you I'm biased. I'm biased because I have a deep love and respect of the Kurds. I worked very closely with Masoud Barzani's Kurdish Democratic Party, and to a slightly lesser extent with Jalal Talabani's Patriotic Union of Kurdistan. We had some heart-to-hearts, over late-night dinners, and they just kind of instilled in me this deep respect for the Kurds. And then when I was living in Athens, I'll tell you, it must have been my first day in Athens. I was driving home from the office, and I was stopped in Athens' legendary traffic. It's just a parking lot. It's like Cairo. And these guys who looked to be not Greek, so they were going car to car and selling a newspaper. So a guy came up to my window, which I shouldn't have rolled down, but I rolled it down anyway because I was curious. And he handed me the PKK newspaper with a hammer and sickle on it. And I thought, PKK, I love Kurds. Hammer and sickle or not hammer and sickle. So I gave him, I don't know, $5 or whatever. And he's like, thank you, sir, thank you. So Kurds, there's a special place in my heart for the Kurds. Not Jalal Talabani. Masoud Barzani once told me that he was born, I think he was born in like 47, which he called the golden age of Kurdistan, because very, very briefly from 1946 to 1949, there was an independent Kurdistan. And then it just was absorbed. There are Kurds now in Iraq, Iran, Syria, Turkey, a little tiny bit in Azerbaijan, and a handful in Armenia as well.
I love those little interstitials, right? Like there was an independent Taiwan from 1945 to 1949. Yep. There was an independent Republic of East Turkestan from 1933 to 1943, where the Uyghurs live. And it's just sort of like these little things that happen, and then you blink and you miss it. We should talk about this on request. Michael Viloff, we were going to talk about this anyway. Eric Adams is out of the race here, in the New York mayor's race. Yeah. And I want, for anybody who doesn't understand why the New York mayor's race is important, it's not because it's the nation's biggest city. It's because this is literally what the future of the Democratic Party is going to look like.
Amen.
That's what it's about. So the Democratic Party is split between the progressive left and the centrist corporatists who run the DNC, and they're freaking out over Mamdani. Mamdani's going to win. The effect of Adams dropping out, which is, by the way, it's just embarrassing how long it took. He waited so long that it's too late to get his name off the ballot, which means that some fools are going to vote for him anyway.
That always happens.
Always. So he had 8. He took his 8% of the vote and went home. The smart money says that one of those points will go to Mamdani, and Cuomo will get the other 7, and Curtis Sliwa will not benefit at all. No. Now everyone's leaning on poor Curtis Sliwa to drop out. Look, guys, Curtis Sliwa can't drop out of the race, not ethically or morally.
No, he's the nominee.
Republican nominee. It's like you literally would be turning New York City literally into a one-party city.
On purpose.
It's on purpose. And I mean, I'm not a Republican, but it would be wrong to deprive Republican voters of their mayoral nominee. Curtis Sliwa is a totally legitimate candidate. The city could do far worse than to have him as mayor. So no, I mean, he's not going to drop out, and he shouldn't drop out. Mamdani will be the mayor, and now you're starting to see the elites here starting to accept that. I think they understand that Mamdani's probably not going to be able to change very much. So, but here's the thing, John. My take on this is, let's just say Mamdani, all eyes are going to be on him. If he succeeds, this is going to spread like wildfire within particularly Democratic cities. You're going to see this happen in LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, Washington, D.C. You're going to see Democratic socialists are going to become the mayors of all those cities.
Because those cities have unpopular Democratic mayors, mainstream Democratic mayors. The cities are solidly Democratic. Donald Trump got 7% in Washington, D.C.
That's hilarious.
But the mayor here, Muriel Bowser, is just reviled. She's terrible. So
just like Adams.
Just like Adams. Washington is ripe for a Democratic socialist.
And but if he fails, this is going to be the Empire Strikes Back. The corporatists are going to say, yep, look, we let you guys play with the nation's biggest city, and you fucked it up.
Yeah.
So that's what this is. And they're going to do everything possible. Donald Trump tweeted something today that I thought was unconscionable. He said, if communist Mamdani, it wins, he will have major trouble with funding. I won't cooperate with him. So in other words, you're going to punish 8 million people because you're an asshole?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really disgusting.
John Katsimatidis, the second richest man in New York. Trump, of course, is the real estate king of Manhattan. John Katsimatidis is the real estate king of Brooklyn. And he's the richest living Greek American. And he and Trump are joined at the hip. He ran for the Republican nomination for mayor. I think it was 4 years ago. It may have been 8 years ago. Piggy
man.
And he is. He's just an awful person. So because of him and his constant complaints about the race is being followed in the Greek papers. Funny to me. And so what he's taken to lately is he just built the tallest residential building on the west coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast of Florida. It's in St. Petersburg. And he says that if Mamdani wins, he's moving out of New York. He's leaving. And people are saying, promise? Promise?
Promises. Sayonara. Don't let the door hit you on your fat ass.
I know, right? Oh my God.
Fucker. See you later. It's like I can if I want to pay $4 for a rotten avocado, I can do that on the street for $0.25.
Wait. Tarek makes this awesome comment. Oh, I have to read it. As I learned from my favorite show, The Wire, every mayoral candidate has great ideas until they get sworn in.
Yeah.
You are 100% right.
Yeah. And look, I've been asked about this grocery store idea. It's a dumb fucking idea. That's going to fail. The buses is a pretty good idea. The rent is necessary, but probably not doable for basically there was a major, I don't know if you're aware of this, but 2019, quietly, New York City changed the law and made life really hard for landlords. And basically up until 2019, if you were renting out a rent stabilized unit and your tenant moved out, you could renovate the unit and then you could raise the rent a bit, right? Well, they got rid of that. So now the landlords are warehousing the units because they want the law to change. They're like, well, we're not going to rent it out now because like we're just going to sit. We're going to sit tight.
So they're just vacant?
57% of the city's 1 million rent stabilized units are being warehoused.
That's nuts.
There is no there's no shortage. It's a cartel.
That is insane.
It's like how diamonds aren't worth anything. The De Beers cartel makes them worth something. It's like that. So it's a fucking cartel. Honestly, but I mean, on the other hand, the landlords can't make it work. And they're going to start walking away from their units because they're going to be underwater. It could be the Bronx is burning all over again, like in the 1970s.
Wow. That's big.
Oh, by the way, this is a big boss, Bob Ross. Is it true that the U.S. purposely and knowingly looked away from bakabazi being practiced by important Afghan Northern Alliance allies? I read about it earlier, and it's sickening. Yes. It is true.
Yes,
so what he's referring to there is that it means dancing boys.
Yes.
And basically, there's no other word. It's pederasty.
It is.
It's older. Afghan culture is deeply influenced by Persian culture, ancient Persian culture, and unfortunately, forced homosexuality between older men and young boys has, it's still considered like something that certain rich and powerful Afghan men practice, and they'll basically buy boys and rape them and keep them as sex slaves.
Yeah, and they make them do these homoerotic dances in front of them, and then they take them in the bedroom and rape them. And they're there. Otherwise, they serve tea and they serve as kind of a personal slave to the. And the U.S.
has definitely turned a blind eye.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they totally knew. They laughed. They made jokes about it. They didn't care.
Yeah, they did. They made jokes.
Frasmataz says, Kurdistan sided with Nazi Germany. No?
I wasn't aware that it was. True. Is it true? I don't know. I wasn't aware that it had a foreign policy at the time.
Welsich loved reading The Reluctant Spy. It's ever going to be back in print, second edition. Loving the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
We keep it going for a long time.
Thank you. For whatever reason, Random House just doesn't want to publish it again. So I went to my original literary agent, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not your agent anymore, so I don't really give a shit," and just left it like that. So I've not given up. I'll say that.
By the way, John, this show is currently number 6 in the nation on Rumble.
Yay!
Right behind Alex Jones, of all people.
Oh, we can beat Alex Jones.
Yeah, I would hope so. But well ahead of Fox.
Wow, we're beating Fox?
Yeah.
Good for us.
Question. What are the chances of a banquet steward in a Charleston, South Carolina downtown hotel being intelligence?
U.S. intelligence, I would say unlikely, because I'm not sure what the target would be, unless there's this like delegation of Chinese people who just haven't moved out. Foreign intelligence would be more of a possibility if there's like a military base nearby, for example.
Selamam, $20. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Have we had a chance to check out Tucker's episode on 9/11? If so, what are our thoughts? I'm sorry, I haven't watched it yet.
I'm in episode 5. I sat for an interview a couple of months ago, and to tell you the truth, I'm too cheap to pay the $6 to watch it. Okay, there, I admitted it.
I'm like that too. Here we go. Bosco Byram, this is a great question. What's the percentage of males versus females in the CIA? Oh, and I've got to ask, are there any trans people in the CIA?
There are now, yes.
Okay.
There are trans people in the CIA. That's a relatively new development just over the last, I'm going to say 6, 7, 8 years. Time was when the only women in the CIA were secretaries and file clerks. And then in the 70s, that began to change when they were allowed to be what are called reports officers. Reports officers are kind of the analysts of the operations directorate. They're the ones who make sure that the intelligence reports that are being submitted answer questions that the analysts wanted, and they make sure that stuff's in the right format and all that business. And then in the 80s, it really changed. In the late 80s, women at the agency filed a class action suit saying we have been discriminated against since the founding of the CIA just because we're women. And the judge in the Eastern District of Virginia not only ruled that the women were right, that they had been discriminated against, but said that he had never seen a case where the defendant had so clearly documented his own crime. And so not only did the women get $100,000 each, every woman in the CIA got a 2-grade promotion overnight, just like that, which caused problems that they've not fully worked through yet. Because then you got, just like some men are dum-dums, some women are dum-dums, and they don't have any business being the senior intelligence service, chief of station. They had topped out at a GS-14. Now they're senior intelligence service level 1, and we're all reporting to them. So,
question for me. Thank you very much, Zachary Beard. Hey, Ted, I'm buying your book. Is it most beneficial for you if folks purchase from your website? Yeah, for sure. Just if you're interested in buying any of my books, including my latest, What's Left, just go to rall.com/books. If you buy it from me, you also get it signed. So.
There you go.
Yeah, but if you get it from, like with all authors, like Amazon's maybe like the worst. You get like a few cents per copy. Second, better to buy from an independent bookstore, then it's a full royalty. But if when you buy directly from a creator, they get like almost all the money. So it's a huge difference. I do that with bands. I still buy CDs, and I buy directly from the band website if they have one.
Not from Amazon.
No.
My brother told me when his songs would come out, he made me promise not to buy them on Amazon because Amazon keeps almost every cent of it.
Yeah, no, like same thing with Spotify and Pandora. I mean, like literally, if you buy like a $13 CD from a band, that's the equivalent of, I'm not even kidding, like 150,000 listens on Pandora.
It's true.
So you should always do that, if you care about music at all. John, should we talk about this? You had some ideas about the shooting. Well, it was beyond a shooting.
Yeah.
So at the Grand Blanc Township Church of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which AKA the Mormons, this 40-year-old ex-Marine drove his pickup truck with 2 giant American flags filled with at least 3 bombs inside, threw into the church, opened fire, and killed 4 people so far, wounded 8. Hopefully that's how those numbers will remain.
Yeah.
And now there's, I should point out also an interesting side note. David Swanson, the peace activist, he took note. He has a column out today pointing out that 32% of mass shooters are vets, and that it's probably worth having a conversation, but that the media doesn't like to talk about it. This guy was 40 years old, ex-Marine. Mm-hmm. We don't really know his motivation. Apparently there was a Trump sign outside of his home for whatever that means. So there was some thought that he might have, he was blown up by an IED and he might be suffering PTSD. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be surprising. Not to mention the traumatic, brain injuries that you get when you're blown up by an IED in combat. Even if you aren't wounded, just from being through the bomb attack. Guy's name is Tom Sanford. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
Jake. I think. Sorry. Right? Jacob Thomas Sanford?
Yeah, it's Thomas Jacob Sanford.
Thomas Jacob Sanford, yeah. I've got a theory. I base this on nothing but my own observations. So don't jump all over me. But I wonder if this guy was a devotee of Charlie Kirk. The kid who's alleged to have shot and killed Charlie Kirk is a Mormon. And he was raised in the Mormon church by a devoutly Mormon family. This church that this guy Sanford attacked, of course, is a Mormon church. The victims were all Mormons, and he went in there to kill as many people as he could. The church burned to the ground. It's a complete loss. The police said today, yeah. And 4 dead, 8 wounded. I wonder if he did this to avenge Charlie Kirk. Because you read the quotes from
Trump poster in front of the house.
Yeah, and you read the quotes from his best friend from high school and his landlady and the guy whose grass he cut, and everybody said that they just cannot fathom that he did.
Really nice man.
Yeah,
very helpful.
He's got a young child. The kid's like 7 years old. And nobody said a single bad thing about it. All they said is they just can't believe he did it.
Do you think if he left a statement that it would be covered up at this point?
Yeah, I do, actually. There's been this move ever since the attack it was either Memphis or Nashville a couple of years ago to not release the contents of final statements or manifestos, so as not to encourage other people to commit copycat crimes. So if he left something in writing, I bet we're never going to see the contents of it.
John, we have an ad, and also Robbie wants to just remind everyone to go over to Rumble. This is a kind of like so this is kind of the end of the month here. So like cops who are trying to meet their quota, we're trying to meet our quota over on Rumble, but without pulling you over and giving you a fake ticket. Robbie, why don't you explain it, and then if you put up the ad, I'll read it.
Sure. Yeah. No, just real quick. What Rumble does what YouTube does not do, which is help John and Ted pay their bills, which is awesome. Rumble pays them based off of their watch hours. So the more that you watch, the more that Rumble pays them. So if you want more Ted and John, then if you watch them on Rumble, the best way to get more John and Ted is by watching them, which is huge. And like these ads y'all see on the screen, these are actually given to us by Rumble. So Rumble is actually going out of its way to support two lefties. And Rumble is a conservative platform.
True.
So for those of you who say that Rumble is too right wing, I want y'all to think about this. They have a right wing producer, yours truly, and they're being supported by a right wing platform where the progressive platform took away their ability to receive donations and super chats. So y'all let me know which one is more free speech, and also help us take out Alex Jones. We are 80 people away from him.
Oh,
there are 280 of you watching on YouTube right now. If 80 of you would come over here and join us here on Rumble, you could take out your most hated conspiracy theorist with John Kiriakou and Ted Rall. So help us out.
Thanks, Robbie. All right, I'm going to read the ad, and then we'll get back to the discussion. Ready to level up your game? AIM Controllers is where custom meets unbeatable value, and right now it's the best deal of the year. We start with official Sony and Xbox controllers, fully compatible with console and PC, no functionality lost. Then you go wild with custom features. Smart bumpers, paddles, grips, stick height, custom buttons, even design your own PS5 snap panels. And here's the best part no one else is doing. Lifetime warranty on all modified parts. That's right, lifetime. What other company does that? Exactly. Normally, a fully loaded setup could run you $400, but during our one price promo, it's only $209 US or 182 euros, no matter how many features you add. Use code RUMBLE at checkout and lock it in. This is your sign. Go to aimcontrollers.com and build the last controller you'll ever need. So, the Mormon thing, you think it might well be like, I'm going after the evil Mormons.
I think so. You know, there were these reports that he was shouting at people as he was shooting. He was shouting at people as he was throwing his whatever they were. They were something bigger than a Molotov cocktail, but smaller than a pipe bomb, is what the fire chief said. I'm not sure what to make of that. But he was shouting, "Do you believe in Jesus?" or something. I don't know. Maybe he had a psychotic break from PTSD. Maybe.
Well, you kind of would have to drive your truck into a church and kill people as young as 4 years old. I think the youngest victim was.
Right.
I mean,
not cool.
No. Just the master of understatement here. Yeah, no doubt about it. So let's see. There's Hans Eli 123 says, I want to see a 2 versus 2 debate between us two and two conservatives.
That'd be fun. I would do that.
Happily.
I'd do that.
Anytime. I love debating.
I do too. You know, I go on the Pierce Morgan show every once in a while, and it's always 2 versus 2, but he never tells you who the other people are going to be. So sometimes you go on, like the first time I went on, I was with Scott Horton, and Scott is a friggin' genius. How Scott is able to hold these facts in his head, it's I don't know how he does it. But anyway, I have deep respect for him. The second time I went on, it took me like the first 20 minutes to realize that I was paired with Jack Posobiec. And I was like, oh my God, I can't stand Jack Posobiec, and I'm his partner. Oh my God, they think I'm conservative. So I just made the best of it.
A little correction, Frasmataz is saying, I was confusing the failed Nazi plot to kill the big 3 at the Tehran conference with the Kurdistan Nazi plot. Okay. I thought there was some kind of connection there, but
okay,
I'll have to look into that. Yeah. We should talk. Before we sign off, we should talk about the looming government shutdown. John, I have to. I do not know how this is going to go. The Democrats have 53. The Republicans have 53 Senate votes.
Yes.
They need 60 to pass this continuing resolution. Up until a day or so ago, the Trump administration kind of seemed oblivious to the idea that they needed 7 Democratic votes. And the Democrats are basically saying, look, you have to restore the Obamacare subsidies.
That's right.
Because now here, John, as usual, I'm really frustrated by the Democratic Party and their complete incompetent messaging.
Yeah, they are.
This morning I listened to Amy Klobuchar talk about this, and she said, and she was asked, why now? Why can't you discuss this at the end of the year? And the answer, Senator Klobuchar, who gets paid a lot more money than John and I do, is because right now people are choosing their ACA plans for next year. This is the renewal period.
It is.
And they need those they can't wait until December or January, because by then it's fucked all the way through next year. That, dear Democrats, is the answer to your fucking question. I don't know why you can't answer it. It's not complicated.
The fuck happened?
There I am.
Oh, good. Oh, I hope
that was me.
And I said, what the fuck happened? Sorry, I thought it was me.
No, it was me. Is that swipe thing on the Mac that we talk about sometimes?
Yes.
Just like the slightest little gesture. If I look at the magic mouse wrong, it just like dumps me out. But anyway, in the middle of that rant, the Democrats just don't fucking know what they're doing. So I don't know if they could message this correctly. They could say, Trump wants to take away your health care. He wants you and your aging parents to die and doesn't care. But they don't seem able to communicate to the American people. So they might just end up, punting. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think the Republicans have a problem too, because the Republicans in the Senate at least appear as though they're willing to negotiate a little bit. But Republicans in the House have already passed their version of the budget, and they are unwilling to accept any Senate changes. So it's not just that the Republicans and Democrats in the Senate can't agree. It's that the Republicans in the Senate and the Republicans in the House can't agree. And Trump has allied himself with the House Republicans. This is going to be ugly. You and I, we would talk about these things over at Sputnik every time they came up, and they came up all the time.
Yes.
And we always predicted correctly that it would go right up to the deadline, and then they would have a 30-day extension, right? Or 60-day extension. It's different this time. The two sides have set their positions in stone, and nobody's willing to have a meeting or to concede. Trump finally today agreed to see Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer, but he didn't say he's going to actually listen to what they have to say or entertain it.
He's a terrible negotiator.
Terrible. His bottom line is always up front. Take it or leave it. That's it. End of the negotiations.
Yeah, that's not a negotiation at all.
No.
All he's doing is backing people up into a corner.
That's it.
I sincerely hope that I really think the Democrats should shut down the government. I know conventional wisdom is that the party that does that gets beaten up. But in this case, if they don't do it, the ACA thing, that damage is going to be massive.
You're absolutely right. And the Democrats have a reputation now as being spineless jellyfish in the face of Donald Trump. So if they're going to try to recover some of their reputation, at least among the mainstream, they're going to have to stand up to him. I agree with you that the Republicans...
They're at micro penis level now. They might be able to get to 25% over micro penis.
Yes. So they're going to have to seize the opportunity. Two
Toes says, I know Rumble is great for all you all now, but I really hope you stay on YouTube too. Don't worry. We're going to stay on YouTube. Rumble is going to have a big limiting factor as the show goes. Just think there's more overall potential on YouTube. I don't know about that, but we're going to continue to be on both. We like being on both. So, Wandan Dollar, thank you very much. Why are Americans surprised that Americans kill a lot or are violent?
I don't know.
Peter said when I went off. That was the Democratic answer. Turned Ted off. Awesome. When did they decide how much they get paid?
Oh, they just raised their pay last year in the budget.
I like this. Yeah. Luigi should be put in charge of the Department of Health and Human Services. Hear, hear. Oh, and thank you, Harry Quantrill, just gifted one subscription to the show.
Thank you. So, Dana Albrecht says, I can't wait till Schumer is gone. Poof, you and me both. Never could stand that guy.
I can't stand him, but you know who I can't stand even more is Hakeem.
Oh, what a traitor to progressive ideals.
Diesel.
Yeah, I can't stand this guy. And I was excited when he won that race.
Me too. Yeah, what a fucking disappointment. I mean, Chuck Schumer, I'm like, he doesn't suck 100% of the time. He sucks 90% of the time. Hakeem Jeffries sucks 110% of the time.
You know, let me say one thing about Chuck Schumer, and I don't even mind if Chuck Schumer sues me for saying it, but I will say I heard from two people in the same week, two people independently of one another who don't even know that the other one exists. Two people told me in the same week that they were in the room when they saw Chuck Schumer take a bribe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. What do you say? That's New York politics, or that's national politics, or Chuck Schumer's a criminal, or I don't know. But these people don't even know that the other exists.
Really?
And they both said in the same week that they had been witness. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's rough. I mean, I feel like a Boy Scout here. I'm like, what? But he's my senator. I don't know what
right?
you mean. That's supposed to be Illinois.
Yeah, exactly. You expect that from Chicago, but I don't know. I'm not comfortable with it.
No, nor should you be. Well, are we sufficiently deprogrammed for the day?
I think so.
All right, everyone, listen, we are here generally Monday through Friday, 5 p.m., and that will be the case tomorrow night when we have Reality Winner. This is a pre-tape, so it's going to air as a live show. I'm going to sit in the live chat and babysit, so anyone who wants to get together and comment and watch, I'll be there to interact. Probably Robbie will be as well. But it was pre-recorded in order to accommodate Reality's schedule. Great interview, goes well over an hour, well worth watching. Strongly recommend that you watch it. Please like, follow, and share the show. Please subscribe. Please move over to Rumble. You can dual watch, much like Robbie recommended. Now, important piece of information. For 3 weeks, John is being a star in Hollywood. And so as he makes himself famous as a star, he's got a different schedule. So 9 a.m. Eastern time, he's going to be up bright and early. 9 a.m. Eastern time, we're going to be here Monday through Friday for the next 3.5 weeks or so. So just bear in mind, that begins Wednesday. So sorry for the confusion. I know
sorry about that. It's all on me.
And but, obviously you can stream the show anytime. And we always put it up, so there will be a new show every day, but it might be more convenient for some people. But anyway, there it goes. Thank you so much for watching. See ya and take care.